Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a deeply counterintuitive secret about mastering artificial intelligence. You know those people who seem to get absolute magic out of AI? The ones producing mind-blowing results? Well, here's their secret. They are the exact same people who are completely willing to waste 4 hours on tools that, frankly, just do not work. It sounds totally backward, right? But stick with me, because today we're breaking down exactly why wasting hours on broken tools is actually your biggest advantage and why insisting on only using perfect polished software is literally capping your potential.
So, here's a question that completely challenges everything we know about productivity. Why on earth is wasting 4 hours on a broken AI tool the secret to success? Now, this is a really tough pill to swallow, especially if you're a seasoned pro who's spent years, maybe even decades, optimizing your workflow to be as efficient as possible. I mean, your whole career has been built on avoiding waste, right? You've been highly productive for a long time without needing to put up with agonizing, hair-pulling glitches that make you want to toss your laptop out the window. But here's the kicker. In the world of frontier tech, playing by those old rules of efficiency, that's exactly what's going to hold you back.
Let's look at Section 1, the frustration spiral, or why most people give up on AI.
To really understand the secret of top AI practitioners, we have to look at the anatomy of giving up. It's a sequence almost everyone goes through. It goes like this. Step 1. A flashy new AI tool drops. You hear all the hype, and you decide to give it a spin. Step 2. You hit the glitches. It's super buggy, the documentation is terrible, and it absolutely does not do what you hoped it would. Step 3. After maybe 2 hours of wrestling with it, you throw your hands up and quit in frustration, with zero to show for it. At this point, most people just conclude, you know what, AI just isn't ready yet, and they decide to wait for the tools to mature. Which leads straight to step 4. You come back a year later, only to realize you have completely fallen behind the folks who actually kept trying.
Now, you might be thinking, look, my time is incredibly valuable. Spending it on some broken tool feels like a complete and utter waste. And hey, I totally get that. Engaging with broken software feels like a massive step backward when you're used to things just, seamlessly working. Is sitting there thinking, I hate this. Why am I wasting my time? Okay, I'll give it 10 more minutes. Nope, still broken. I'm done. It's painful. But quitting right there, that's a crucial mistake. Because the time you spent fighting the software wasn't actually the waste you think it was.
Moving on to Section 2, the paradox of wasted time and redefining the curriculum. All right, we are going to completely flip the script on what wasted time actually means. Take a look at this number 3. This represents 3 solid hours the author of our source material spent just last month wrestling with a complex, super buggy AI research agent. The whole goal was just to automate a regular research task. But the tool was full of bugs, the documentation was half missing, and the online examples were totally outdated. After 3 full hours, the author gave up and just did the research manually. On the surface, yeah, that sounds like a total loss. 3 hours gone, 0 output. But let's look a little closer.
Here's the crazy part. Those 3 hours were actually a massive win, because if you look at the unseen lessons harvested from that failure, they are huge. You learn how to diagnose exactly when a tool drifts off course. You learn how to read those cryptic error messages and figure out what's really happening under the hood. You discover which parts of this brand new infrastructure actually function today, and which vendors are leading the pack instead of just lagging behind. You even learn how to structure a task so that future AI agents will actually understand it. If you shortcut this process with some polished, perfectly packaged tutorial, you're literally robbing yourself of learning these underlying, incredibly valuable lessons. Sure, those 3 hours didn't pay off for that one specific task, but they paid off exponentially in long-term learning.
And this brings us right to the core thesis of this entire explainer. The frustration is the curriculum. Every single person who has become genuinely good with AI over the last couple of years has burned hours on broken tools. None of them had a magic shortcut. Actually, scratch that. There are no magic shortcuts. The frustration isn't some annoying barrier keeping you from your AI education. It literally is the education.
Which brings us to Section 3, the efficiency trap, and why polished tools actually make you average. If you apply your old, reliable rules of efficiency to this specific, messy landscape, I guarantee you will only ever be average. Think about it. Look at the left side here, polished tools. If you wait around for seamless, easy-to-use tech, you end up using the exact same tools in the exact same ways as everyone else. Your skills plateau right at the level of whatever the most popular mainstream tool happens to do out of the box. You become, well, average. But look at the right side. The people who tolerate the broken tools, the undocumented workflows, the super cryptic errors,
They're the ones discovering new capabilities first. They're the ones building novel workflows and producing outputs that look like pure magic to the rest of the world. And that magic isn't some innate talent. It's simply the result of accumulated hours of tolerating frustration.
The urgency here is pretty obvious. Everything on the frontier of new tech ships rough. It's just how it is. 2 years ago, pioneers started burning their hours on these rough tools. And today, right now in 2026, we are in this incredible, unique window where the gap between those who tolerate the bumps and those who wait for polish is massively wide. The return on overriding your instincts and just dealing with the frustration right now is off the charts. But jump to 5 years from now, around 2031. Eventually, these tools will become perfectly polished for everyone. And that learning gap, it's going to permanently close. This massive advantage is available right now, precisely because it's difficult.
All right, let's jump to Section 4, the Mastery Playbook, navigating the frontier safely.
So how do we actually dive into this messy frontier without just falling into a spiral of guilt and endless, truly wasted afternoons? Well, we need a system. The first highly actionable technique is budget setting. You need to decide in advance exactly how many hours you're willing to invest in exploring a given tool. Just follow these steps. Pick a tool. Give yourself a strict budget. Maybe it's 2 hours, maybe it's a whole weekend. Crucially, go in expecting bugs, expect that it might completely and utterly fail. And step 4, give yourself the permission to spend that full budget, and when the time is up, just stop. Zero guilt. You learned what you learned, now move on. Doing this completely short-circuits that frustration spiral because you've literally planned for the failure.
The second vital technique is active documentation. As you're struggling with a new, broken tool, write down exactly what you try and exactly what breaks. And you're not doing this to write a review of the tool, you're doing it strictly for your own future reference. Because I guarantee you, 6 months from now, when a much better version of that exact same technology inevitably drops, those notes are going to accelerate your learning enormously. This is how you take completely wasted time and literally transform it into a reusable, compounding asset. Honestly, budgeting and documenting are the single best habits correlated with long-term AI mastery. To wrap up this explainer, I want to issue you a direct challenge for this week. Pick just one new AI tool you've been curious about. Give yourself a strict 3-hour budget to explore it. Go in knowing it's probably going to be a totally bumpy, glitchy ride. Document what you try and document what fails. Because once you realize that the obstacle isn't actually in your way, but rather the obstacle is the path itself, well, everything changes. So try it anyway. Lean into the mess. Are you ready to surprise yourself with what you learn?